Well, the other thing about like the slow starts that you mentioned, the Raptors were trapping Zach every time he touched the ball in the fourth quarter, right? Because he was hot. I mean, he had 36 on the game. 12 of them came in the fourth quarter. But that's exactly my point. Even though they were trapping and doubling him every time he had the ball, he still had 12 points in that fourth quarter. And that is why like the whole, well, you take what the defense gives you narrative about those last few games is still super weird to me.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with Zach's behavior. He's obviously too talented of a player to only be taking 10 shots in a game.
Back-to-back games.
So, yeah, I'm glad he came out and played more like Zach LaVine. He's always going to have moments where you're kind of scratching your head a little bit. To me, like, the frustrating thing about Zach is that they'll run a pin down for him, and he'll come off a screen and catch the ball and, like, stop.
Yeah.
He's, like, open, or the guy will go under the screen, and he'll just kind of stop there, survey. He's kind of like DeMar in this way, where he likes to, like, see the pieces on the chessboard before he moves.
Yeah.
And so if he's ever, you know, catching the ball on the move and guys are rotating or moving around him, it's like it's hard to process in that speed. But all he needs to do is elevate and shoot. And there was a play in the fourth quarter where he just came off a pin down, got an open three, and pulled it, and it went in.
It was cash.
And I think it got the Bulls to like 10 or 9 points or something, and they called a timeout.
Yeah, that was the one that caused the timeout to get it down to 7, I believe.
It's like, just don't think, just do.
Yeah.
And when he comes off screens like that, I mean, he is as dangerous as it gets, because now you have to lock and trail him so that you can't pull the three, and now he's playing 5-on-4.
Yeah.
And he's just downhill.
I'm going to go another way. I didn't really like his game tonight.
But that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, he was
really
hesitating
like
so much.
Yeah, like, the points were great. You know what I mean? That was Zach LaVine doing Zach LaVine stuff. But I felt like he was taking just incredibly difficult shots that he didn't need to take. Those long twos, of course, reared their ugly head. You know what I mean? Tonight, again, for Zach. The defense was just really not good.
Defense was bad.
The defense
was bad.
My God, it was really, really, really not good. But I felt like he, in the first half, Will, like you said, like he kind of was hesitant, but also trying to just pass the ball just way too much, in my opinion, instead of just, you know, getting it and make the move and get to the basket or take the open three.
Exactly.
He wasn't making the good basketball stuff. He was doing the harder basketball stuff. And I felt like it kind of made it a little more difficult for the flow of the game. You know, like people didn't know what he was going to do kind of situation. Like, that's why I think some of those passes were turned into turnovers. A couple of them just weren't good passes. You know what I mean? Like, a couple of them, he's just throwing a bad pass.
Over DeMar's head into the crowd.
Correct. Threw it too low for Vooch. You know what I mean? He's not about to bend over to get the basketball, you know, like that. But others,
he hit
man.
Vooch in the knees.
Yes, he
3
did.
times.
Yes, he did. But others, the spacing wasn't great. He just would take the ball and not look for anybody else. Or when he was looking for them, nobody was ready for it because they didn't know what he wanted to do. I didn't like it basketball-wise. You know what I mean? Just looking. I didn't like the game. The points are great. Like I said, the shots were awesome, all that stuff. But basketball-wise, I really, really didn't like the game tonight.
And I want to hone in on that a little bit more because we're on the exact same page. With Zach coming off these screens and, like, stopping.
Yeah.
And, he's talented enough to make those tough shots you're talking about, right? There were a couple in the first half where he'd come off a screen, he'd kind of pull it back out and then get another rescreen from Vooch, and then he'd, like, elevate at the elbow.
Yeah.
And there was one where he kind of had Vooch rolling, and both defenders kind of went to him, and he just pump faked, got one guy up, the other guy came over, and he just shot over, and he made it. And it's like, yeah, these are the moments in the game where it's like Zach LaVine is so freaking talented that he can, like, trick himself into thinking any shot is a good shot. And when he has his feet set, he really can get to his shot whenever he wants. But that doesn't make it good offense.
Right.
And I think the key here is when Zach comes off a screen and, like, pulls out and then gets a rescreen and goes into it, or hesitates, waits for his defender to catch up to him and get in front of him, and then he pump fakes twice, and then he goes up. What happens is, like, not only is that a harder shot for him if he takes it, but now the defense is shifting when these guys are coming off of screens.
Right.
Everybody's reacting to the ball movement, to the off-ball movement around them.
Yeah.
And when Zach comes off those screens and doesn't shoot, what happens is, like, Ayo in the corner, who just set a screen for somebody else to go to the wing, now his defender stops because Ayo stopped moving. Now all the pieces are set in front of him, and, like, that's how Zach likes to process things, how he likes to operate, which is fine. But what happens is everybody else stops and stagnates. And now if he doesn't have that shot, or he can't get off a really difficult contested jumper, he's got to pull it back out or swing it to DeMar or, reset the offense with 8 or 9 seconds on the shot clock.
Right.
And now you've got to create something out of nothing.
Yep.
And so you turn what could have been a really good look into a really difficult look, and forget like 3s and 2s or rim shots and free throws, like efficiency spots on the floor. It's like open or not. Are you open or are you covered? Like shoot the ball if you're open, and don't worry about like if the guy's of 2 steps or 1 step behind you. Like you've got space, elevate and shoot it.
I think you make another point that I was talking about too, and that's the rhythm of it.
Exactly, it's the rhythm of the game.
There's a rhythm to it that these guys just completely are not in tune. You can just see it out there. They're not in tune. They know the rhythm of DeMar DeRozan. They understand kind of his rhythm a little bit more. A lot of those times, DeMar is going to make that move, that spin move or whatever, that pump fake. He's going to take that shot 7-8 times out of 10. He's going to take that shot. So they understand what's going to happen. They know when to cut to the bucket to try to get the rebound, do those kind of things. With Zach, it's weirder.
We all silly like the mayor.